Yes, thank you, CL. I am here at the Trafalgar Square roundabout, one of the pivotal areas for the 8th and final stage of the Tour of Britain cycle race. Now, right now we're looking at seeing 120 cyclists prepping their kit and their bikes for the upcoming race today. It takes place in London over a series of London streets, 53 miles roundabout that they'll be cycling past, and they'll be going past several familiar areas over a lot of familiar terrain. Now, what's interesting about this stage is that it's one of only two stages in the race that takes place in a sort of lapped loop rather than a drag from one place to another. Now, if you look behind me, you can see the road up to Piccadilly Circus. Now, what's happening over there is they're starting just after Pall Mall. They're taking a loop round Piccadilly Circus, and then they're coming back past this roundabout. They're heading up the Strand all the way to Temple before they do a short loop right next to Temple Station, and they come right back round here, past the roundabout again, down to Westminster down this road, before they head right back up to Pall Mall, where they began, ending just before Piccadilly Circus at the finish. Now let's take a look at what happened yesterday. Yesterday's stage was won by Andre Greipel of Germany's Lotto Sudal team at a time of 5 hours, 14 minutes and 42 seconds over a course of 139 miles. But the overall winner so far is Edvald Boasson Hagen from Norway, who currently has a time of 33 hours, 32 minutes and 36 seconds, and that's about 844 miles over the course of the last 7 days. So that really shows you how hard this race is. Now, we're going to see about 53 miles covered today. As I've said, later today we're going to be in the pit with the cyclists as they're preparing their stuff, and we're also going to be at the start and finish line, so we'll give you a quick preview of what happens there. Back to the studio for now.
With the Apaches, it was one of the best sights that I've seen on any cycling program.
No, I was in the photo shoot in the Alps, so I was catching up with everything on the iPad on the way back.
Yes, thank you, CL. We're here right next to Piccadilly Circus at the start line of the 8th and final stage, the pivotal stage of the Tour of Britain cycle race. Now, behind me, as you can see the start line, fans are gathering in anticipation. We can see it's an uphill drag straight away, so cyclists are really going to have to push that momentum straight away to get round Piccadilly Circus and back down towards Trafalgar Square. Now, joining me, let's go to him straight away, it's Hugh Roberts. He's the CEO of Sweet Spot, who have been organising an event for the last 12 years. Now, Hugh, tell me about what it takes to organise such a big event for London.
A huge amount of planning, enormous amount of preparation, meticulous military operation that we have to undertake to get this sorted. We were here at 3 o'clock this morning when the first road closure came on, and the team have been working tirelessly, having spent the previous 7 days incidentally traversing the country, so it's been a long week. But they were up and they were putting the plan together. Have been for the last probably more than a year, this very day. So this is the most important day of probably the history of the Tour of Britain, frankly. We've got a 6 kilometre circuit. Here we are, you and I, Luke, talking outside Lily White's here in the heart of London, opposite Piccadilly Circus. There isn't a more strategic, more security sensitive place in the world than here. And here we are, we're allowed to put a cycle race on, which is great. We get some tremendous support from Transport for London and the Westminster City Council. So it's an amazing situation and a perfect finish to an amazing week.
And have you had any problems throughout the planning of this whole operation?
The entire operation, well, you do get the odd little thing that crops up when you don't expect it. You know, it might be a burst water main or something else is going on with the road, like a pothole or something opens up. This year, touch wood, we've been pretty lucky. The weather's been kind to us. We haven't hardly had a single drop of rain apart from yesterday morning. Then it brightened up for the finish in Ipswich. So no, it's been an interesting and so far a pretty trouble-free race.
So we've seen sort of road closures in places like Ipswich, where quite rural locations. And how do you feel this might be different for the cyclists?
For the riders themselves, this is a very flat circuit, actually.
With the Apaches, it was one of the best sights that I've seen on any cycling program.
No, I was in the photo shoot in the Alps, so I was catching up with everything on the iPad on the way back.
Yes, thank you, CL. We're here right next to Piccadilly Circus at the start line of the 8th and final stage, the pivotal stage of the Tour of Britain cycle race. Now, behind me, as you can see the start line, fans are gathering in anticipation. We can see it's an uphill drag straight away, so cyclists are really going to have to push that momentum straight away to get round Piccadilly Circus and back down towards Trafalgar Square. Now, joining me, let's go to him straight away, it's Hugh Roberts. He's the CEO of Sweet Spot, who have been organising an event for the last 12 years. Now, Hugh, tell me about what it takes to organise such a big event for London.
A huge amount of planning, enormous amount of preparation, meticulous military operations that we have to undertake to get this sorted. We were here at 3 o'clock this morning when the first road closure came on, and the team have been working tirelessly, having spent the previous 7 days incidentally traversing the country, so it's been a long week. But they were up and they were putting the plan together, have been for the last probably more than a year.
Little twitch that thing.
This is not a cool look. There's some cars out, I'm going to change it.
Turn that bottle around.
Yes, thank you, CL. I'm here in the veritable pit of cycling activity where teams are getting their bits and bobs ready, they're cranking things, they're whizzing things, they're putting things together and taking things apart. It's teams from across the world, from areas like Germany and Norway, and also here in England, are putting their bikes together and getting ready for the start of the race, which, as you say, takes place at about 3 o'clock. Now, they've currently been doing the last 7 stages across England and Wales and, of course, Scotland, and they've come down here for the 8th and final stage of the Tour of Britain cycle race. Without further ado, let's go to Marcus Greenwood, who's the managing director of one of the teams here. Now, Marcus, tell us a bit about your team.
NF2 is not for the ordinary. We are Hereford-based, continental. I suppose people will know us because we won Ride London 2014, beating the likes of Sky and some other World Tour teams. So, we're well established, part of a sort of 5-strong community of UK continental teams.
So, what are you expecting for the race today?
I think it's the end of a long week. We would love to get into the break. Get into the break. That I think in itself would be an achievement. If you look around, we've got NFTO, we've got some other continental teams, also got World Tour teams. We've got the likes of Ethics, we've got the likes of Sky, we've got some big names out there, big sprinters. It's a flat track, it's a dry day, so it's going to be. This is an awesome opportunity for us to test our mettle against the world's very best, and we've done it before.
So how does your equipment and your team specification compare to other teams, other more famous teams perhaps?
I think ultimately, it's about guys on the bike. It's about their preparation. It's about the quality of the bikes. We've got some brilliant relationships with the likes of Felt, Aberdeen, etc. That allows us to have some good gear. I think we race. The thing about Continentals, you race predominantly in the UK. Your equipment, your gear is more or less the same. One of these bikes is worth 11.5, 12k, £1,000. Sky with the same. So the others. So actually, ultimately, we've got some great riders: Ian Bibby, Johnny McAvoy, Eddie Dunbar, Rob Partridge. Some great riders and some great equipment. So there's no reason we can't compete. We've done it before.
So the last stage was between Ipswich and Norwich. That's very rural area, a lot of it. How do you feel like London will be different in the streets of London?
Look, I mean, London. We've seen it. We saw it at the Olympics. We've seen it with Ride London. If you look at Ride London, just in terms of participation, go down a level. Go to the everyday rider. I think 89,000 people tried to get into Ride London this year. 25,000 got in. That just shows you the appetite around here. London's always a great place to come. It's a real treat. It's a treat for everybody. To race amongst the world's best in an iconic venue is always a great thing to do.
Great, Marcus. Thank you very much, and best of luck for today.
Thank you.
As he said, they're doing a massive race today. It's about 54 miles across the whole of London, heading up Piccadilly Circus and then down to the Strand, back to Westminster, and then back to Piccadilly Circus for the end. We'll try and bring you a bit more later on, but for now, we'll leave you with that. Yes, thank you, CL. Only an hour and a half to go now to the start of the race, and I think it's safe to say anticipation is hotting up among some of the fans here. We've just seen up there the start line. It's full of fans. They're banging on things. It's all very exciting. But right here, down here in the pit, is where the cyclists are getting ready to go and do their ride. It's about a 54 mile track today. They're heading up around Piccadilly down to Temple and then to Westminster and then back up to Piccadilly. But without further ado, let's go to one of the cyclists who's part of the One Pro cycling team. It's Janto Barker. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
So how are you feeling today before the race?
Yeah, I feel good. You know, we've rested well over the last 24 hours or so, and I'm really looking forward to obviously this stage in the capital.
Well, how do you think this is going to be different from some of the more rural affairs?
Obviously, it's very different. There's not so much wind. Thankfully, there's no rain either. What that means is the buildings offer a bit of protection, and the pace will be fast, but it will be pretty much all from the front, as opposed to worrying about crosswinds over the moorland, which we've actually had to deal with a little bit over the last couple of days.
So I've been talking to a couple of the other cyclists. They say this might be one of the hardest stages they've had to do. Do you think that's correct?
It could be. It depends how the guys want to take it on at the front. Essentially, I don't expect there to be a GC battle today, which there has been pretty much every day so far this week. What that means is there'll be some tidying up of some of the competitions. So the sprints competition, there's 3 sprints today. They will be hotly contested. I think there are potentially a couple of guys, maybe 3rd, 4th on GC, who might try and go for that, but I doubt if they'll actually try and break away from the group, the main group. And then really, obviously, it's about the stage win.
And now, one thing that I got told by another cycling team was that their bike cost around £11,000. So let's take a look at your bikes. Tell us a bit about what's going on here.
Well, it's probably a similar sort of price if you're going to buy this off the shelf. What we're looking at is a Cervelo S5. It's an aero frame. We've got Envy wheel sets, which you can see everything is pretty much carbon, including the Cervelo bars. And then we've got Di2, which is the electric brakes, which you can see here. You've got the adjustment settings, and then obviously the levers, left and right, and front and back gears. So it's an excellent bike and actually very suited for fast racing, which we're definitely going to get today.
So why do you think it's going to be so fast today? You say no wind. Is that just because of the buildings?
Yeah, mostly the shelter, but also, with the corners and everything, then you get what's called the whiplash effect when you're in different places in the peloton. And ultimately, everyone here is world class. When they want to race for something, then you're going to be doing 30 miles an hour quite easily for the entire distance.
Great, thank you very much, Janto. Best of luck. So we're going to see a pretty hotly contested race today. Although I have been told by the CEO, the person who organises this, that they think personally that Evald Boasson Hagen from Norway is probably tipped to win. But we'll see what happens later. Back to you in the studio.